Oh my God, we finally got a start date. And we got a decent candidate to go up against Gavin Newsom, who is still, at the end of the day, incredibly likely to win his recall effort because he's still polling incredibly strong. He has still raised a fucking shit ton of money, and he's still going to be up for re-election in 2022, and all of this stuff will just blow over just like the wind through his luxurious Patrick Bateman-looking fucking hair. I don't like him. I don't think a lot of people around the country like him, but unfortunately, enough normies and enough just vote Democrat no matter what because we like free shit, that crowd is going to turn out in record numbers for him. So, I would like to celebrate at least one good candidate stepping forward, but let's set the parameters because it's been a minute since we talked about this recall and we finally have a date for the election. As for like debates or anything else coming out in support of this, I'm not too sure about it yet. Not too sure about it, but depending on if there are going to be some debates, I will definitely be checking it out because, oh boy, thanks to Larry Elder hopping in on this, Gavin Newsom will look like an even bigger retard at the end of this. Anyways, California on Thursday, a couple weeks ago, scheduled a September 14th recall election that could drive Democratic Governor Gavin Newsom from office. Highly unlikely. I know. The results of the political uprising largely driven by angst over state coronavirus orders and the fact that he's just a tyrant, but he gave everybody back their freedom. Fuck off. That shuttered schools and businesses and upended life for millions in Californians. And they're going to get away with it. They're all going to get away with it, and that is the saddest shit in the world. The election in the nation's most populous state will be a marquee contest with national implications. Watch closely as a barometer of the public mood heading towards the 2022 election, when a closely divided Congress again will be in play. Exactly. So September 14th is the date to remember in this situation. I don't know if there are any other Democrats hopping on the bandwagon, but there are a few Republicans out there. We all know that fucking Caitlyn Jenner is dragging her shambling ass up there to fucking make an embarrassment out of whatever's left of her credibility. You got the former mayor of San Diego, Kevin Faulconer, and then you got a couple other fucking stragglers. But, like I said, we got Larry Elder now. If you don't know who this dude is, you are doing yourself a grave disservice. He is one of those, he's been in the game for a long time, okay? And he's been dropping truth bombs for fucking decades at this point. Mostly known as a conservative talk show host, the dude just tells it exactly like it is. Pulls zero punches, and if I could think of any more cliches, I would say them right here, but he's the real deal. And I'm glad somebody like him decided to step up to this because what a barren wasteland and what a fucking waste of time this election was looking for. He's the most prominent name that's going to be in the field, at least when it comes to running as a serious political contender, because it's Caitlyn fucking Jenner, dude. Like, that's the only other competition there. Yeah, he points that out, and we got a couple other articles to talk about as well, but I at least want to give you guys a little bit of background on Larry Elder if you are uninitiated. Larry Elder, the sage from South Central, I hate fucking gimmicky nicknames, is a nationally syndicated radio host and newspaper columnist, best-selling author, and award-winning documentary filmmaker. Yes, Uncle Tom, a very good documentary that he put out there, I think it was last summer, and one of the best-known media figures in America today. His flagship daily radio program, The Larry Elder Show, is heard every weekday in all 50 states and more than 300 stations. Elder's unique style, personal background, and professional experience combine to inspire, inform, and persuade his listeners, readers, and viewers to embrace the timeless American principles of personal responsibility and public accountability. Something California and, you know what, just extrapolate that out a little bit further. California at large, the world at large, really needs to start paying attention to. The question is not which party has my back, but which party can get government off our backs. So we might all realize our God-given capabilities. I'm running for governor because the decline of California isn't the fault of its people. True. What led to the absolute decimated situation that San Francisco, Los Angeles, all the big cities find themselves in right now. You type up any fucking major city in California. I'm sure some of the smaller cities as well, but when it comes to photo results, it's easier to just type in those. You just see homeless encampments, homeless people just lining the fucking streets. The streets with boarded up windows and closed shops forever, never really to return, because in California, 60% of small businesses are never coming back, are never, ever, ever coming back. And especially with them playing hot potato, the government in charge right now, the one that is about to be recalled and more likely just to be reinstalled again for another fucking year. They're moving to reinstall mask mandates in California. Yep, it's being talked about right now, and it's in Los Angeles County regardless of vaccination status. So, who fucking knows? And so Larry's bang on this one. Elder was born and raised in South Central Los Angeles, and his family story represents every bit of the American dream. I'm glad somebody believes in it, because Captain America sure doesn't. His father was born in Athens, Georgia, and served in the United States Marine Corps. Oh my God, how did his father get out of there? Because Georgia is just such a racist place, I've been told by the likes of Major League Baseball and all my favorite corporations. Weird. And opened his own restaurant, Elder's Snack Bar. Elder's mother, originally from Huntsville, Alabama, was a clerical worker in the United States Department of War, now the Department of Defense, because optics, and raised 3 boys as a stay-at-home mom. I'm running as a governor because the decline of California isn't the fault of its people. Our government is what's ruining the Golden State. Our schools are closed to both students and their parents. Our streets aren't safe, and the rising violent crime is a disaster of rising homelessness. And the scandals of Sacramento aren't going to stop on their own. It's time to tell the truth. We've got to save the state. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. I have a vested interest in California. I have some extended family that lives there, and I would one day, I don't know, potentially like to call it my own home. It would be wonderful. It would be something to aspire to. It's just right now, I couldn't possibly rationalize moving to California. Okay, it is an absolute desolate wasteland, and I would be fucking miserable, absolutely miserable. But I'm glad somebody who is still there for whatever reason wants to fight back and wants to, unfortunately, I got to use the term again, do better. Of the 3 dozen Republican candidates hoping to replace Governor Gavin Newsom in the recall election, perhaps none brings a larger national audience than Larry Elder. For the people who are actually likely to vote in this recall election, like, he's going to go on to say Caitlyn Jenner has bigger name recognition, but when it comes to political insight, running in political circles, it's Larry Elder and everybody else. The conservative radio host, known as the Sage from South Central, has millions of weekly listeners through his syndicated show of out of Los Angeles. He entered California's September recall election on this previous Monday, 4 days before the filing deadline for candidates. Like every Republican in the race, Elder faces long odds against Newsom, who's polling strong. I don't know why. I couldn't possibly think of a reason why. Oh, right. People want free shit. That's why. Okay. And has amassed a campaign war chest of more than $30 million from Hollywood elites, from corporations. We ran the numbers a little while ago. Democrats also have a nearly 2-to-1 voter registration advantage in the Golden State, and a Republican hasn't won statewide office since Arnold Schwarzenegger, off the back of a recall in 2006. I remember it well. Elder said that's why he entered the race, in hopes of giving conservatives a well-known candidate with the ability to raise large sums of money nationwide. Somebody's got to start chipping away at this, okay? Just because it's like, okay, the big old boulder has a couple of cracks in it. The big old Democratic boulder. Just follow me on the analogy for a minute, okay? And it'll only continue to get bigger. It will only continue to amass more growth unless somebody decides to start chipping away at it, okay? That's why, oh my God, during the election cycle, months and months ago at this point, I did a lot of coverage on very long shot, odd candidates, okay? Because I was really passionate about promoting good ideas. A lot of those topics focused on Baltimore, the greater Baltimore region, Maryland as well, because they deserve a better class of politician. They deserve better ideas to come in there and fix all the problems that have led Maryland and Baltimore specifically to become, well, an absolute hellhole. And then you take a look at what's happening with California, and there is zero reason whatsoever it should fall into the desolate wasteland it has become. That's only because mismanagement of the national resources, the finances that are there, and just taxing people out of the fucking wazoo, imposing rules on the citizenry. Meanwhile, they're just hypocritical about it and don't really give a fuck. So somebody's got to start the charge, okay? Is he going to win? Probably not. Probably not. But he gives the Republicans and he gives the opposition at least a fighting chance. A fighting chance. Like he says here, I have a higher name recognition than anybody other than Caitlyn Jenner, Elder told the Chronicle during an interview in Sacramento. I'm on in every major market from Sacramento to San Diego and all the major cities in between. Though unknown to many Democrats, Elder is one of the most prominent black conservative commentators in the country. He's probably the most credible one. I'm sure there are a couple other guys out there, but when it comes to prominent and credible, I don't think that there's anybody better than Larry Elder. Like, dude's on another level. If you haven't checked out any of his interviews, the first Dave Rubin interview that he had there, where he totally changed Dave Rubin's mind on systemic racism. It's a powerful watch, and it just shows you how ruthless Elder is. And I also think, okay, because he says that, yeah, my name recognition is up there. This is also California we're talking about, and they are just low information voters for the most part. Okay, it's kind of like everywhere. For the most part, people are not as invested in this process like you and I and everybody else watching this normally is. So because I was doing a little look, and it's like, okay, when was the last time that California had a black governor? And the answer to that question would be fucking never. So I know Larry's not the one to play the race card, so he's not necessarily going to pull that up. But if his face is on a poster and he does a couple of nuanced campaign maneuvers, yeah, somebody sees his name on a ballot, yeah, they might be motivated to vote for the first black governor of California. But like I said, it's long odds. Larry knows that. Republicans in California and around the country know that, but it's always going to be worth a shot. It'll only be a 2-month campaign for Elder since he entered the arena late, but just before the candidate filing deadline. Unlike other major candidates, he won't need to spend nearly a year on a tiresome and tedious campaign trail. More important, there is a narrow uphill path to victory for Elder. Don't scoff. Yes, the odds are heavily against him, and the expectations are low. Newsom is an overwhelming favorite to retain his job based on polls and logic. Yeah, unfortunately. Democratic voters outnumber Republicans in California by nearly 2-1, and no Republican has been elected to statewide office since the exact same situation would have happened when a Democrat got impeached and then a moderate Republican, but Larry, let's not confuse him with being a moderate Republican, ended up getting in, and that was, Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's a conceivable scenario that works for Larry Elder, who's 69. Motherfucker's looking great for 69. Black don't crack. A Los Angeles native who has been a talk show radio host since 1993. I was just 3 years old. He would be California's first black governor. There it is. And there will be 2 questions on September 14th ballot. Should Newsom be recalled, and who should replace him? For Newsom to be recalled, many Democrats would need to be so apathetic that they don't bother to cast ballots. Exactly, that's kind of what you're hoping for. But in the midterms and in special elections such as this, it ends up favoring Republicans, okay? That's just how the numbers end up shaking out. It's mostly just dudes and Republicans that end up showing up. A whole bunch more Democrats and a whole bunch more women like to show up for the general election every 4 years because, hey, the big president's on the ballot, and that's a lot more enticing to be voting for the president instead of something so trivial as like, oh, I don't know, your governor or something, the guy who actually has a lot more control over your life than the president, but hey, he doesn't have that big shiny office in Washington that you can go visit one day with your girls. The polls indicate that's very possible. Democrats don't generally give a hoot, and Republicans are energized. Yes, especially with this recall effort. A lot of Democrats are currently still scared about the Delta variant, and the COOF in general. Meanwhile, Republicans organized this recall effort, financed this recall effort, got out there, banged on doors, got as many signatures as you possibly could, and they want to get this motherfucker out there super bad. So we know how many people are at least going to be out there, so ball's in your court, Democrats. Next, the expected large Republican field of several dozen would splinter the vote. Elder, with the wide name ID and outspoken conservatism, would attract a plurality of Republican votes. He could win with a relatively small percentage of the total votes cast. Exactly. Like, you can see that these strategies are getting pretty obscure, right? You just hope that enough people, I don't know, just continue to vote down. It's like, I really hate Gavin Newsom for him, I don't know, closing my salon or closing my restaurant that I had. I'm just going to vote for whatever Republican shows up there, even though that voter himself or herself is not likely to show up anyways. But theoretically, that could happen. Okay, I'll vote for anybody who's not on there, and whoever's the first one up, okay, I'll vote for him. Or, I like this dude's name. Cool. I know who Caitlyn Jenner is. Oh, Larry Elder, he would actually be the best choice here. You can hope for that to happen, but that is literally like throwing a dart across a cul-de-sac. You'd be lucky to hit the board. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing if there are going to be any debates announced, because, oh boy, that would be a spectacle to watch. And I'm just glad somebody good has hopped into this race and going to be giving Gavin Newsom a run for his money. I hope Elder tries again in 2022 if he's unsuccessful, because that's going to give him the proper cycle to go in there and absolutely mop the floor with that used car salesman. But with that said, I thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.